You know he's going to be furious, right? I don't get it. He respects you as a villain, thinks you're one of the most powerful we've got in the league. But the idea of us being together, he hates it. It's like he can't see me as anything more than a tool for the league. He doesn't see us as equals. Exactly. It's like he wants to control every part of my life. It's not just about being his second in command. He even wants to pick who I marry. I'm done with that.
So they got engaged behind Plasma Man's back, he thought to himself. This could be the key to my rise in the ranks. Master, I wouldn't disturb you unless it was urgent. It's about your son.
What about him?
Plasma Boy has gone behind your back, sir. He's proposed to the opposite lord. They're engaged.
What did you just say?
Your son, Plasma Boy. He's gone against your wishes and proposed to the opposite lord. I overheard them discussing it in his private quarters. They're planning to be married without your blessing.
That fool, how dare he betray me like this? I built everything for him, and this is how he repays me. With disobedience, I'm coming back immediately. I will not allow this to stand.
I thought you should know, Master. I'll continue to watch them closely until you return.
Good. When I return, we'll put an end to this. My son will learn what it means to cross me.
I never thought we'd actually do it. We've been in love for years, and now we're finally making our stand. Yeah, and when my father gets back, well, he'll have to accept that we're together. We're not backing down.
My own son, he hissed through gritted teeth, his voice low and venomous. How could he betray me like this? After everything I've done for him, after everything I've built for him, engaged to her? He spat, pacing more furiously. I gave him everything. I trained him, made him strong, and this is how he repays me. By choosing some rogue villain over the future I've planned for him. I told him. Plasma Man continued, his voice growing louder as he stalked across the small room. I told him I would pick his wife, someone worthy of the legacy I've built. But no, he had to make his own choices, his own decisions. I should have seen this coming. That boy has always been rebellious, always thinking he knows better than me. This is not just about a marriage, he muttered to himself, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. This is about control. He thinks he can take over while I'm in hiding. He thinks he can do things his way. But I'll show him. I'll show them both. I'll return sooner than expected, he said quietly, a wicked grin spreading across his face. And when I do, Plasma Boy will learn what it truly means to cross me. He may think he's ready to lead, but I'm still in control. He's not ready for the power I wield. I built the Villain League from the ground up, Plasma Man muttered, his hands glowing brighter. And I won't let anyone, not even my own son, destroy what I've created.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've finally done it. The space curtain is complete. Once we deploy it during the next solar eclipse, the Earth will be plunged into eternal darkness.
Blocking out the sun permanently, she said with a wicked grin. It's brilliant. The world will be completely helpless without sunlight. The global ecosystem will collapse. No crops, no energy, nothing.
Exactly. We'll bring humanity to its knees. With no sunlight, they'll be forced to rely on us for survival. The Hero League won't be able to stop us. They'll be too busy trying to prevent global chaos. How long until we deploy the curtain? The next solar eclipse is in 2 days. When the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, we'll use that exact moment to activate the space curtain. It'll wrap around the Earth, absorbing and deflecting all sunlight. Once it's in place, there's no turning back.
What about the Hero League? They'll see this coming, won't they?
That's the beauty of it. They have no idea what we're planning. We've kept this operation completely off their radar. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late to stop us. We'll deploy the curtain from space, and they won't have the technology or time to reverse it. The Earth plunged into eternal night. Imagine the chaos. Cities will fall, governments will crumble. They'll have no choice but to beg us for help. You're sure there's no risk to us? Solaris asked cautiously. We're not going to block out the sun only to suffer the consequences ourselves, are we? We've accounted for that. The space curtain will only affect the Earth's atmosphere. We'll still have access to solar energy up here in the station. Your powers won't be diminished, Solaris.
So what's the plan for deployment? We need to be flawless, no mistakes.
We'll release the curtain from the lower section of the space station just as the moon covers the sun. The curtain will unfurl, expanding quickly enough to cover the Earth's atmosphere before the eclipse ends. Once it's in place, it will be self-sustaining, drawing energy from the sun while simultaneously blocking its light. The Earth will be trapped in perpetual night, and then we'll watch as the world falls apart. Precisely. They'll panic, crops will die, temperatures will plummet, and without the sun, their entire way of life will collapse. The Hero League will scramble to fix the damage, but we'll already have the upper hand. We'll demand total control of the planet in exchange for the technology to reverse the curtain.
We'll rule the Earth from up here, watching them grovel below.
Everything is in place. We have the technology, the timing, and the element of surprise. Once we deploy the space curtain, nothing will stop us from ruling the world. We'll monitor the countdown closely. In 2 days, the Earth will fall into darkness. Prepare yourselves, because when the moment comes, we strike.
Colton, Zach, and Chris wandered through the aisles of a small, quirky store in downtown Chicago, searching for eclipse glasses. The excitement of the upcoming solar eclipse had the whole world buzzing, and the trio of young heroes wanted to experience it in style, from the roof of Hero League headquarters, where they'd get the best view in the city.
I still don't get why we didn't just grab a pair from HQ. We've got the budget for that kind of stuff. Because this is more fun, dude. Besides, it's not like we do normal things very often. Might as well enjoy the experience.
Exactly. Plus, we've been cooped up in HQ too long. It's good to get out and do something that doesn't involve saving the world.
They continued browsing, each grabbing a different style of glasses. As they wandered through the store, Colton kept checking his phone, texting with Emily. His lips curled into a soft smile every time his phone buzzed, and his fingers moved quickly as he typed back.
All right, Colton, what's the deal? You've been glued to that phone all day. What? I'm just, talking to Emily.
Oh, just talking to Emily? Come on, man. You've been on what? 3 dates, and now you're all love-struck.
Okay, maybe I like her a little. A little? Dude, you're texting her nonstop. You're smitten. Admit it. Fine. Yeah, I really like her. She's just different, It's easy to talk to her. She makes me feel normal, not like a superhero or whatever, just like a regular guy.
That's good, man. But we're definitely going to keep teasing you about it.
I can handle it.
The group continued to chat as they made their way through the store, finally settling on a brand of eclipse glasses that they all liked. They picked out their styles, tossing them into their shopping baskets. As they headed toward the checkout counter, Colton's phone buzzed again.
Seriously, dude? Are you planning the wedding already? Nah, just, seeing if she's going to watch the eclipse too.
Oh, so you're thinking about inviting her up to the roof with us, huh?
Maybe. It's a good view. It'd be cool to watch it with her. Look at you, Colton. You've gone soft on us. Next thing we know, you're going to be writing her poetry and playing guitar under her window. Don't give me any ideas.
The three friends paid for their eclipse glasses and headed out of the store, still teasing Colton about his growing attachment to Emily. The excitement of the solar eclipse was building, and they were all looking forward to watching it from the roof of Hero League headquarters, a rare moment of normalcy for the group of young heroes. As they walked through the bustling streets of Chicago, Colton glanced at his phone again, shooting off another quick text to Emily. He was excited to watch the eclipse, but now there was a part of him that hoped she'd be there with him too. Meanwhile, the countdown to the space curtain deployment continued. Unbeknownst to the group, the villains up in the Villain League space station were preparing for their moment of darkness. As the solar eclipse approached, so too did the moment when the Earth would be plunged into eternal night, unless Colton, Zach, and Chris could find a way to stop it. In Connor's office, a handful of Hero League Safety Patrol officers sat around a large, oval-shaped table, their expressions focused as they listened to their commander. The room was filled with diagrams of Hero League headquarters, along with safety plans and logistical maps. Connor stood at the head of the table, his arms crossed as he addressed the group.
So, as you know, most of the heroes will be up on the roof watching the eclipse tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be a great moment for everyone, but there's a major concern here. The building is 15 stories high. We can't afford any accidents.
With that many people up there, even if they're heroes, we need to be cautious. Have you considered implementing barriers along the perimeter of the roof?
We've got temporary railings set up, but I want more than just the basics. We need patrols stationed at key points. If anyone gets too close to the edge, we need eyes on them. This can't just be a normal rooftop gathering.
Do we have emergency transport ready in case of any incidents? Just because they're superheroes doesn't mean they're immune to accidents.
Yes, we'll have an emergency transport stationed below, and patrols equipped with anti-gravity harnesses just in case, but this is a big event, and I need your advice on how to manage this effectively. We don't want any distractions. Come in.
Sorry to interrupt, Commander. I was hoping I could speak with you about something.
What is it, Colton?
Well, you know how we're all watching the eclipse tomorrow, right? Up on the roof?
Yes, and we've got safety measures in place, but what's on your mind?
I was wondering if there's any way I could bring Emily, the girl I've been seeing, to watch it with us. I know she's not a superhero, and we obviously can't tell her this is the Hero League headquarters, but the thing is, the building doesn't exactly say Hero League on it. It's disguised as a manufacturing factory from the outside.
Colton, you know how important it is to keep the Hero League's identity and location secret. Even though the building is disguised as a factory, it's still risky to bring someone here who isn't part of the League.
I know, but I've been really careful. She doesn't know anything about me being a hero. It's just, this is a big moment, and I want to share it with her. I thought maybe there's some way we could make it work. I mean, she's not going to ask a lot of questions if I just tell her we're watching from an old building.
We could station a couple of patrols at the entrance to the roof. Keep the lower floors completely off limits. That way she won't see anything that could tip her off.
That's one possibility, but it's still a risk. If anything goes wrong, if something slips, if she gets curious, it could compromise the whole operation.
I get that. I wouldn't ask if I didn't think it could work. She wouldn't be inside the building, just on the roof. And if it seems like it's not going to work out, I won't push it. I just wanted to know if there's a chance.
I'll allow it under one condition. We have to treat this like any other security risk. Patrol stationed, a strict perimeter, and she doesn't go anywhere but the roof. If she starts asking questions, you pull back immediately. Understood?
Understood. Thank you, Commander. I promise I'll be careful.
All right then. Be smart about it, Colton, and don't forget this is still Hero League territory. We can't afford any mistakes. All right, let's add this to the plan. Make sure everything is in place. I don't want any surprises tomorrow.
The officers nodded, quickly diving back into their discussion as the solar eclipse and the potential threat lurking in the shadows drew. The next day, Colton stood a few blocks away from Hero League headquarters, his eyes scanning the bustling street for any sign of Emily. He didn't want her getting too close to the disguised building. It was important she didn't suspect anything about its true nature. Finally, he spotted her walking toward him, a bright smile on her face.
Hey, you. I've been looking forward to this.
Colton smiled back at her.
Same here. It's not every day you get to watch a solar eclipse from one of the best rooftops in the city. It's so cool that we're doing this together. I wouldn't have even thought of something like this. I'm glad you asked me.
As they began walking toward the building, Colton kept his pace casual, but his mind was working hard to make sure everything went smoothly. They approached the side of the factory-like building, and Emily looked up, slightly puzzled when she saw the ladder leading up to the roof.
So, we're climbing a ladder to the top of some random factory. Why this place? Yeah, it's kind of an odd spot, I guess. But this is where I work. I'm, the warehouse manager here. Figured I might as well take advantage of the view since I know the place so well. Warehouse manager? That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know you were doing that. You're full of surprises, huh? Yeah, I try to keep things interesting.
They reached the base of the ladder, and Colton gestured for her to go up first.
You can head up. I'll be right behind you. The view up there is pretty amazing. You sure it's safe? I mean, I trust you and all, but... You know, ladders, totally safe. I climb this thing all the time. Besides, you've got me here in case anything happens. All right. You've convinced me.
With that, Emily grabbed onto the ladder and began climbing, her movements careful but steady. Colton followed close behind, his mind still racing as he thought about how to keep everything under wraps. As long as they stuck to the rooftop and avoided the interior of the building, there wouldn't be any issues.
I have to admit, this is kind of exciting. I've never done anything like this before. I figured it'd be a fun way to watch the eclipse. Beats the crowded parks, right? Definitely. This feels more personal. Just us, with the whole city below.
They reached the top of the ladder and Colton helped Emily onto the roof. She looked out over the skyline, her eyes wide as she took in the expansive view of the city stretched out before them. The rooftop was quiet, and the sun was just starting to dip into the early stages of the eclipse.
Wow, this is incredible. I can't believe we get to see the eclipse from here. Yeah, it's pretty great. I figured you'd appreciate it. You were right. This is perfect.
They stood side by side, the anticipation of the solar eclipse growing as they enjoyed the calm moment together. Colton felt a sense of relief that everything was going according to plan. As long as they stayed up here, Hero League headquarters was just a factory, and his secret identity remained intact.
I'm glad we're doing this. It's nice to get away from everything, just the two of us. Me too.
They had a little time before the eclipse began, and for now, Colton was just grateful that he could share this moment with Emily, even if he had to keep a few secrets along the way. The challenge of balancing his life as a hero and his budding relationship felt less daunting up here, with the world below and the sky above. For a brief moment, everything felt normal. As Colton and Emily stood on the roof, taking in the view and chatting about the upcoming eclipse, the sound of the rooftop access door creaking open caught their attention. Colton turned, his heart skipping a beat as he saw Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, Mr. Callaway, Carl, Connor, and a few other heroes stepping out onto the roof.
Colton, who are they?
Colton's mind raced. He knew he had to be careful about what he said. He couldn't reveal the truth about them being heroes, and he certainly couldn't let on that this was Hero League headquarters. But a bit of truth mixed with the story might help.
Oh, them? Yeah, don't worry. They're just my co-workers, you know, from the warehouse. We're all here to watch the eclipse together.
Emily blinked, still processing the sudden appearance of so many people.
So these two are my best friends. Zach, Chris. We've been tight since high school. We hang out all the time.
Zach and Chris nodded, exchanging a quick glance as they caught on to what Colton was doing. Chris shot him a supportive smile, playing along.
And, this guy here, he's also one of my best friends. He works with us at the warehouse. He's, the head of security.
Mr. Dugan raised an eyebrow at the title but didn't say anything.
Mr. Rence here is our operations manager. And Mr. Callaway helps us with logistics and warehouse management. They're great at keeping everything running smoothly.
Emily seemed to relax a little, nodding as she took in the story.
And those two are my bosses. Carl and Connor, they're the big guys in charge. They make sure everything in the warehouse runs smoothly. You know, just regular managers.
Carl, ever the stoic leader, gave a subtle nod while Connor folded his arms, giving Colton an amused look as he realized what Colton was doing.
And the rest of them? Oh, they're just my other co-workers. We don't talk as much, but they're part of the team too. They help with inventory and shipments and stuff. Everyone's here to watch the eclipse. Wow, I didn't realize you had so many friends at work. It's nice that you're all close enough to do stuff like this together. Yeah, we're kind of like a big family. We look out for each other.
Zach gave Colton a knowing look, smirking slightly but keeping his mouth shut. Chris chuckled softly, clearly amused by the whole situation, while Mr. Dugan remained silent, his arms crossed as he watched the exchange.
Everything all right up here?
Yeah, everything's fine, just watching the eclipse.
Good to hear. We'll all be up here for a while, so let us know if you need anything.
Thanks. I'm excited to see the eclipse. It's going to be amazing.
Colton exhaled quietly, thankful that things were going smoothly for now. The rest of the heroes spread out across the roof, chatting quietly amongst themselves as they prepared for the solar event. Colton turned his attention back to Emily, who was still gazing out over the city, clearly impressed by the view.
This is going to be a great spot to watch it from. I'm glad I'm watching it with you.
Colton glanced back at his friends, who were doing their best to blend into the role of co-workers for the moment, and smiled to himself. For now, everything was going according to plan. They just had to keep things that way. The large group stood on the rooftop of Hero League headquarters, eagerly watching the sky as the solar eclipse began. One by one, they slipped on their eclipse glasses, the air filled with excitement and chatter. Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, Mr. Callaway, Carl, Connor and Emily all marveled at the incredible sight, the moon slowly moving in front of the sun.
Wow, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Perfect day for it.
I gotta admit, watching this with eclipse glasses feels like I'm in some sci-fi movie or something.
Could have been cooler if the sun exploded or something, but this works too.
I'm just glad we're all out here instead of chasing some villain around for once.
Connor was quieter than the rest, his eyes scanning the sky. As the eclipse neared totality, he felt an uneasy twinge in his gut. Something wasn't right. He had seen solar eclipses before, but something about this felt off. And then, it happened. As the moon fully covered the sun, the sky plunged into darkness. But it didn't stop there. The eclipse passed, but the world remained in pitch-black night. Not even a glimmer of sunlight made it past the moon's edge.
Is this supposed to happen? It's still dark!
This doesn't feel like a normal eclipse. I mean, shouldn't it have passed by now?
Yeah, it's supposed to get light again, right? It's kind of strange, isn't it? I've seen eclipses before, and it doesn't usually stay dark like this.
Something's wrong. This isn't natural. The sun should be visible again. Whatever this is, it's not part of the eclipse. Colton, can I talk to you for a moment?
Sure, what's up?
It's getting late. Maybe you should take Emily down to the ground level in case something's wrong with the atmosphere. We can't be sure it's safe up here right now.
What do you mean, something's wrong?
It's probably nothing. Just being cautious. We don't know if this extended darkness is something we need to worry about yet.
Hey, maybe it's best if we head down for now. Just to be safe. But, I mean, I trust you. Are you sure everything's all right? Yeah, it's fine. Just, safety precautions. I'll walk you down. Okay, if you say so.
Colton led her toward the ladder they had used to climb up, his mind racing as he tried to process what was happening. Connor's urgency told him there was more to this, but for now, getting Emily away from the situation was the priority. As they disappeared down the ladder, Connor quickly gathered the rest of the group.
All right, something's definitely wrong. This isn't just an eclipse, I don't know what, but I have a bad feeling this is tied to the villains somehow. I agree, this isn't natural. We need to figure out what's going on, and fast.
The villains must be up to something. They always strike when things seem peaceful.
Could they have done something to the sun or the atmosphere? Some kind of tech?
Possibly. Whatever it is, we need answers. Colton's coming back up as soon as Emily's out of the way. We'll meet in my office and come up with a plan.
If they're involved, we're not just dealing with a normal solar event. We could be looking at something catastrophic.
Stay ready. We need to move quickly once we know more.
As they waited for Colton to return, the heroes prepared themselves for whatever darkness the villains had cast over the earth. They didn't know the full scope of the plan yet, but they knew one thing for sure. This was no ordinary eclipse. Colton guided Emily through the front door of Hero League headquarters, careful to keep her attention away from the high-tech security systems and unusual features of the lobby. He moved quickly, steering her toward the elevator before she had a chance to take in too much.
Let's just take the elevator,
he said, keeping his tone casual but his pace brisk. Emily, sensing the urgency, gave him a puzzled look but didn't argue. Once inside the elevator, Colton hit the button for the 6th floor, where the bedrooms were located. He leaned against the wall, trying to think of how to explain the situation without giving too much away. The sudden darkness had unsettled her, but he couldn't tell her the full truth.
Colton, what's really going on? I mean, I trust you, but this whole thing, it doesn't feel right.
It's nothing to worry about, I promise. We're just being extra cautious. The power grid might be acting up with this whole eclipse thing, so we want to stay safe. No need to be out there in case things get weird.
The elevator doors dinged open and Colton led her down the hall to his bedroom. He opened the door and ushered her inside, moving quickly to make sure she didn't have too much time to ask questions.
I'm going to deal with some stuff real quick. Here, these will keep you busy for a little while. I won't be gone long.
Seriously? You're just going to leave me here? Colton, I know something's wrong. Why do I need to stay in here, and why do you need to go handle the darkness? What are you not telling me?
It's just a precaution. We've been having issues at work, and it might be a little dangerous to be out right now. I just don't want you getting caught up in something that's not your problem.
Caught up in what?
Just trust me, okay? I'll be back soon. Stay here, read a book, and don't worry, everything's going to be fine.
Before she could press him further, Colton stepped out of the room and shut the door behind him, exhaling a deep breath. His heart pounded as he rushed back to the elevator, his mind already shifting to the more pressing concern, the strange darkness that had engulfed the world. Within minutes, Colton made his way to Connor's office, where the rest of the group had gathered. The atmosphere was tense, with Connor pacing near his desk and Carl standing by the window, staring out at the unnatural blackness that had taken over the sky.
You get Emily taken care of.
Yeah, she's in my room. I told her to stay put, but she's starting to ask questions.
This isn't just a blackout. Whatever's happening is deliberate. The sun should be back by now.
It's not a natural phenomenon. The villains have to be involved. We need to figure out what they've done.
They've got to have some kind of tech or satellite up in space. Blocking out the sun? That's next-level stuff.
If they're blocking sunlight, the Earth's going to be in chaos. People are going to panic. Crops will start dying. Power grids will collapse. This is bad. So we're talking about some kind of artificial eclipse? What's their endgame?
Control. If they can block out the sun, they'll throw the entire world into a survival crisis. They could hold humanity hostage, force governments to negotiate with them for resources, or worse. We need to find out how they're doing it. We need intel fast.
We need eyes in space. There's a good chance they've set this up using a satellite or something from orbit. If we can locate it, we can take it out.
How do we even begin? We can't just launch ourselves into space.
We might not have a choice. If we don't figure out how to stop this... We will. But first, we need intel. We'll get a team on this, and we'll figure out exactly what's going on. In the meantime, no one leaves HQ unless absolutely necessary. The world's in chaos right now, and we need to be ready for anything.
The group nodded in agreement, the weight of the situation heavy in the room. The darkness outside was more than just an eerie anomaly. It was the beginning of a plan to hold the entire world hostage, and it was up to them to stop it.
Let's get to work. We don't have much time.
Mr. Callaway moved swiftly through the underground level of Hero League headquarters, his eyes scanning the control panels as he made his way toward the generator. The darkness that had consumed the world wasn't just affecting the sun, it was wreaking havoc on the power grids too. He knew they couldn't rely on external power sources for long. He reached the generator room, his fingers working quickly to boot it up. The hum of machinery filled the space as the generator roared to life, bringing a steady stream of power to the building. It was only a temporary fix, but it would buy them time. Not much time left before things get really bad. Let's hope Connor and Carl can figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, in Carl's office, the tension was thick. He and Connor were huddled over a series of maps and documents, trying to piece together the Villain League's next move, when the phone on Carl's desk suddenly rang.
This is Carl.
Carl, it's not every day I call a hero, but you're going to want to hear what I have to say.
Who is this?
I'm with the Villain League, but listen, this plan, they're going too far.
The space curtain.
It's not just about blocking the sun for a few days, they're planning to plunge the world into eternal darkness.
What? Who is this and why should I trust you?
You can call me Solaris. I joined the Villain League to harness the sun's power, but this plan is insane. They told me the curtain wouldn't affect my solar abilities, but I don't believe them. Blocking out the sun forever? They're playing with forces they don't understand.
Solaris, why are you telling me this?
Because I don't want to be left powerless when this plan fails, and it will. Once they block out the sun, governments will be forced to negotiate with the Villain League for limited access to solar energy. They'll ration it, control who gets power and when. But what happens when that system falls apart? The world can't survive without sunlight. You and your league need to stop them.
How are they doing this? What's causing the darkness?
They've deployed a space curtain from the Villain League space station. It's blocking the sun's rays from reaching Earth. It's already in place. If you don't act soon, the damage will be irreversible.
All right, Solaris, thanks for the tip. We'll take it from here.
Before Solaris could respond, Carl hung up the phone, his face grim as he turned to Connor.
It's worse than we thought. The villains have deployed a space curtain from their space station. They're blocking sunlight to force the world into submission.
That explains everything. If we don't stop it soon, the world will fall apart. You think we can use Rence's van to get to the space station? We need to find out if it has a rocket mode. It's the only way we're getting up there. Yeah, it's got a bunch of modes. Why, Rence's van, it can transform, right?
It's a long shot, but if anyone's crazy enough to pull it off, it's Rence. If that van has a rocket mode, we might just have a way to stop this.
All right, let's get Rence up here and find out.
Mr. Rence was in the hallway making sure the power grid was stable when Carl and Connor found him. Carl quickly explained the situation, laying out the details of Solaris's tip and the villain's plan to use the space curtain.
Wait, you're saying they've blocked out the sun?
And you want to use my van to get up there?
Exactly. We need to stop this before it's too late. Does your van have a rocket mode?
You bet it does. I wasn't sure when I'd ever use it, but it's got full-on rocket capabilities. We can get up there, no problem. Well, if we're gonna go into space, we better prepare. Let's suit up, grab the team, and get ready for one hell of a ride.
We don't have much time. Let's get moving.
With that, the team began their preparations for an unprecedented mission: to travel into space, stop the Villain League, and save the world from eternal darkness. In Connor's office, Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, Mr. Callaway, and Connor gathered, the weight of the situation pressing down on everyone. The room was tense, filled with a sense of urgency, as they prepared to face one of their greatest threats yet.
So, they're up in space messing with the sun. How do we stop something like that?
Exactly. They've positioned themselves in orbit, and their plan is to plunge the world into eternal darkness. Without sunlight, the Earth's ecosystems will collapse and the global infrastructure will be in ruins. The Villain League is going to use that to force governments to negotiate for limited amounts of solar energy, giving them total control.
Actually, we can. Rence's van, it has a rocket mode.
Wait, you mean your van can actually fly into space?
Yep, it's got rocket thrusters, full pressurized cabin mode, the works. I built it in just in case we ever needed to, head into orbit. Guess I wasn't being as crazy as I thought.
Leave it to Rence to have a secret rocket van. How soon can we leave?
We're going to use Rence's van to get to the Villain League's space station. Once we're there, we'll infiltrate and take down the space curtain. This is the only way to restore sunlight to the Earth. Without it, everything falls apart.
This is big. Bigger than any mission we've ever done.
But we can do it. We have to. We've faced worse odds before. Let's just make sure we get up there, break that curtain, and get home in one piece.
We go up there, fight our way in, and end this. Simple.
It's going to be dangerous. The Villain League won't go down without a fight, and space is an unforgiving place, but we've handled worse. We're the Hero League, and the world is counting on us to stop this.
You're the best team for this. We don't have time to waste, and there's no one I trust more to get this done.
All right then, let's do this.
Vans ready whenever we are.
Suit up, get your gear, and meet at the loading dock. We launch in 20 minutes.
As the group moved to leave, preparing for what could be the most important mission of their lives, the gravity of what they were about to face became clear. They weren't just saving a city or fighting off a villain, they were saving the world from an endless night. But despite the odds, there was no doubt in their minds, they were ready.